Warehousing is hard enough. It doesn't need your software making it harder. Hello everyone, I'm Fred Thompson, CTO here at claruswms. Today we're talking about 3 things that matter to your bottom line: automating your billing with recurring charges, tightening your inventory control with volume replenishment, and showing you how we're putting that data to work with our new AI-driven dashboard experience. Now, let's start where it counts the most, the money side of the warehouse. Billing admin is one of those jobs that eats your day without you noticing. That's why we built recurring charges. It handles your contractual charges, storage, service fees, the whole recurring lineup, and bills them automatically, on schedule, every time. Less manual work, more accurate invoices. I'll hand you over to Jack to show you how it's done.
Thanks, Fred. I'm Jack, a solutions consultant here at claruswms, and today I'm going to take you through recurring charges. The reason we've added recurring charges into the system is it allows you to charge your customers a flat fee, whether that is on a daily, weekly or monthly frequency, and this flat fee automatically adds into your charge basket for the frequency that you have set. Okay, so let's jump into the charge card. So you can see here I've got my charge card already set up. If I open it using the eye on the right hand side, you can see all the rental prices, receipt prices, pick prices and sundry prices, which we've been through before. But if you scroll to the bottom, we've got a new section called recurring charges. In recurring charges, it's set up the same with the other windows. So you can jump into the code and you want to add a code in. So we've got recurring code. I've put an example of recurring name for the name and then recurring description. These are what then pull through onto your invoice. So you want to set them up as you want them to be seen on your invoice. Then you've got the initial charge date. So when do you want this recurring charge to start? So I've had mine set up of the 14th of July. If you press the calendar, you can see you can select whichever date you want the recurring charge to start on. Then the next tab you've got is frequency. So if you open that up, we've got daily. So do you want the recurring charge to be set on daily? Do you want it only to be charged at the end of the window? Do you want it to be charged monthly? Or do you want it to be charged weekly? I've set this up monthly. So within my example here, I've got a quantity of one, so one recurring charge with the price of £250. This will be added to each charge basket every month. So once a month, it'll charge £250. And this is really useful if you charge your customer a minimum rate for the month. So you can add in that £250 and it tracks it automatically. You want to then select auto charge as yes, and then the save button on the right hand side. Once you've set this up, the day after, when you jump into your view charges, you can open up your charge window for this period. So I'm going to go to account 1 and charge card 1, open it up on the right hand side, and then I'm going to change the charge type to recurring, and you can see that this recurring charge has been added and the price total is £250. There we go, that's recurring charges. If you've got any more questions, then please head over to our website and get in contact with a member of our team, and they will be more than happy to discuss more information with you. Back over to you, Fred.
Thanks, Jack. Reliable billing, no spreadsheets required. Now, let's head out onto the warehouse floor. In a busy warehouse, waiting for stock to hit some fixed minimum before you replenish can leave your pickers standing around. Volume replenishment changes that. It triggers stock movement based on actual pick volume, not just a number on a shelf. That means tighter control and fewer surprises. Elliot, show them how it runs.
Thanks, Fred. Hi, everyone. I'm going to show you our order volume replenishment functionality that we've recently just built and how it will streamline your business and warehouse.
Okay, so the first thing that we need to do and set up for our pick faces are locations. We'll go to the locations screen and we will then go ahead and create a new location. And we can add a code in here and a description. And we have to add the warehouse that we want this to be for, and then we can choose what type of location this is. So this is going to be a racking location. And then what we can do just to turn it on to be a pick face location is go over to the options and we'll see quite a few flags. And as you can see, one of them is pick face. That needs to be toggled on along with allow picking, because obviously we want to be able to pick from that pick face, and then we'll be able to click save and then our location for a pick face has been set up at that point in time. So after we've got our location set up, so that's when we need to look at our account setup. So as you can see, I'm in an account already, and we need to scroll down to our picking rules. So here you can look at the pick types, the default pick type that you'd like, pick rotation, or pick optimization. But the main and the important one from a pick face perspective is your pick rule. So this is basically how we replenish stock into your pick face and how you pick that stock as well. So we can set this to be first in, first out. So FIFO, best before date, sell by date, last in, first out. And what these mean is if I had this set to be sell by date as an example, when I come to replenish the pick face, it will replenish the earliest sell by date stock, and then you would pick that earliest sell by date stock. So you're picking the earliest sell by date at this point in time. And what we're going to do is set up FIFO rules for this example. So it's looking at the stock that came in first, that will be replenished first into a pick face, and then it'll be picked from that pick face as well. And then after that, we come to the product. So we look at the different products that we want to actually set these pick faces up for. I've got a couple of products set already. And as you can see, I've added the information about that product. I'm going to scroll down and we will get to pick faces. At this point, this is where we can see what pick faces we have set up, or this is where we come and add our pick faces as well. So what we can do here is add a line. We then select the pick face that we have created and what we would like to add. And from there, we can choose the replenishment type that we want to use for that pick face. So in this demonstration, we're going to be using order volume. I can then add a maximum trigger, which means the amount of stock that we're going to replenish into that pick face. And then we can decide whether that's going to be full storage units only, meaning I only want to replenish full storage units into this pick face, or if we have that set to no, what that would mean is we can break up pallets to fit the exact max trigger, which is 20 at this point. So if you do have full storage units turned on, and let's say your pallets are 25, this would just mean that we will always replenish a full pallet, but it could go over the max trigger just by that amount. This also has a little bit of information around the location, whether it's active or not. Obviously, our locations do need to be active in order to utilize them. And then I can go ahead and click save. The functionality that we have with order volume replenishment is, as you can see there, you can only set one pick face at a time for order volume replenishment. So at this moment in time, I have got one already, and we will just use that one as this demo. The last bit just to mention on the pick faces and setting up the pick face at this point, we have the ability to set up location groups, which allows us to actually choose a group of locations that you'd like to set up as pick faces as well. So when looking at the other replenishment types, that will become available and you'll be able to use that functionality. The very last thing before going into a demonstration of how order volume replenishment works, we are going to come to flags here. And what I've also done is turned on the enforced picking of this product from pick face. And what this does is it makes sure every single pick will always go to the pick for this product. The reason that's important is because if that was turned off, and as you can had a full pallet pick, that would usually go to racking. So it would bypass the pick face. You would go and pick a full pallet from racking because usually it's a lot easier. However, with volume replenishment, we're looking at fast moving stock, high demand stock, and we want everything to go to the pick face. So that's the example that I will be using today. So I'm going to go ahead and click save. Okay, so that's everything set up on the product, the accounts and the location. And now we're going to look at the example that we've got here. So I've set up my stock. This is the product that I am using. So test volume, pick face product 1. And you can see the account that I've set these for. We can also see the quantity and the different pallets that these are on as well. So I've got basically 5 pallets of 20. And as you can stock in the warehouse at the moment. I've also added 20 already in a pick face because what I want to show is how order volume actually works in the system, where it's looking at the demand of the picks that have been processed and looking at the amount of replenishments that we need in order to fulfill that quantity. So you can see here that I've already got 20 in the pick face and that is ready to be picked. So firstly, it works like any other pick face. I can have a sales order, process it for, let's say, a quantity of 5, and that will then deplete by 5 once it's been picked. I've also got an example here which is more tailored towards the order volume functionality, where I have a large order that has come in, and you can see this is for the account that the stock is associated with, and I have done it for the product that I've got stock of. So you can see I've got available stock in the warehouse is 100 and I want a quantity of 65. So 20 is already in the pick face, and I then need another 45 to be able to be picked from the pick face, because remember, all picks are going to be enforced via the pick face. So once I save and process picks here, and which I'll do right now, that will process the sales order. As you can see, that's now been processed. When I click through to the pick list, what we can see is a pick task for 65. Because we only have one pick face associated with the product, it's gone to that pick face. It's an available task. However, what this also has, which I'm going to go into our task grid now, I'm going to refresh this screen. So what we can now see is the intelligence of the order volume replenishment functionality kicking in to know that we need more replenishments in order to fulfill that pick quantity. So what the system has done has replenished all of them, has created the tasks, and as you can see, all of them replenishments all at once. It's actually going to be replenishing the earliest stock as well, which I'll show you in just a second. Once we replenish all of these, and as you can see the pick phase, we will then be able to complete our pick for 65. Firstly, let me show you what stock it has picked up there. So if I refresh the screen here, what you can see is it's actually correctly picked up the earliest stock as well. So we know this by the ID, the earlier the ID. And as you can see, first into the system, the later means it's the latest. And as you can see, it's picked up the 3 pallets that were the earliest in stock. Okay, so now the replenishment tasks have been generated, I need to go and complete them tasks. So I'm going to use the handheld for this, and where I can now go to my replenishment, I can replenish by location, and then I can enter the location that these replenishments are going to, click next, and you can see these are the tasks that have been picked up. So 2748, just to double check, is the next one in order to be picked up by the user in the warehouse. I'm going to go ahead and scan the location from, just coming from racking, scan the pallet that we want to replenish and the location to again, and confirm the quantity that we want to replenish. And as you can see, that's completed. I'm going to do this another 2 times for the other 2 replenishment tasks. Okay, perfect. So there are all of the replenishment tasks that have been generated. They've all been completed now. If I go back to my task list, what we can see here is all of these tasks are available. If I go ahead, refresh the screen, these are all now being completed, and my picking task is ready to be picked up as well. So I can go back to my pick list, and as you can scan the storage unit that I'd like to go to. Again, usually people do this by the HHD, but I can go ahead, click complete. So now when I come to the pick list, I can look at the pick task, as I can see here for 65. Usually a user would use HHD scanner at this point to confirm the pick. However, I'm going to do it via the front end. So I want to complete this task. And as you can see, that's now been completed. My dispatch task has been generated. I'm going to go ahead and complete that as well. And from there, if I go to my stock line, I can now see I've got 1 remaining stock line in that pick face with 15 in, with another pallet in racking, ready to be replenished once the next pick task has been generated, if and when we require another pallet in there. So that's order volume replenishment. If you have any trouble with this at all, then our support team are there to help you out. We also have documentation on this functionality too. That's it from me. Back to you, Fred.
Thanks, Elliot. Better flow, fewer stockouts, no guesswork for your replenishment team. Now, here's the one I've been waiting to show you. We've talked a lot about bringing real intelligence into the warehouse. Not as a buzzword, but as something you can actually use. So today, I want to walk you through our new AI-driven dashboards experience. Okay, so here we are in our dashboard view that you normally have inside of Clarus. And quite often the challenge with dashboards really is to try and build up the data that you need on them. It's often quite difficult to make sure you get the right source data, build it in the view and the formats that you want. And effectively, that's what our AI dashboard feature allows you to do a lot easier. So I'm starting here on standard Clarus dashboard view. I've created a dashboard called Operations Overview. You can have multiple of these dashboards. And at the moment, we've just got one chart on here, which is a count of pick lists. But what I want to do is I want to show you how we can build and add to this with our AI platform. So I will switch to the second tab. Now you can use the AI in the platform, or we've got it as a separate application. I'll switch to it just to make it a bit easier to kind of illustrate. But in here, what I'm going to do is I'm prompted. I want to do a new conversation, a new chat. I'm going to start to ask AI to build out this view. Now, I want to manipulate this on the operations overview dashboard. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is probably say, can you add a metric to the operations overview dashboard? And what metric do I want? What chart do I want to see? Well, let's start with something that's hopefully of use. So I'm going to start with the receipts, I think, that are broken down by their status, so I can see whether they're in progress or complete. And I want to see them as a pie chart. So I want to see a pie chart of the receipts broken down by status. Now, here you can see I'm just using really simple language. I'm not really trying to give it the source of the data. I'm saying I just want to see the receipts broken down by status. I'm giving it the format, ideally to give it an idea so it can go in a direction for pie charts. Then ultimately I'm going to let that work its way out there. It will go off to the conversational part of AI and you'll see it start working it out. So say I'm start looking at this dashboard, it will find the dashboard to start with, the operation overview dashboard. Again, I probably type that in as operation instead of operations, but again, it should find that no problem. You see it finds the dashboard details. Now it's figuring out how to actually build this report with the receipt schema, and it's fetching the REST schema for creating the report queries, and it's effectively going to start looking up the correct fields for that. You now see it's starting to get somewhere. Query works perfectly. Let me find for any receipts. Okay, and it's going to confirm to me, here's a preview of the live data. We can see it's giving me an example. We can see it's found completed, part of pending statuses. So in this case, it said, hey, this is the plan. Would you like me to do that? Would you like me to create a new widget based on the dashboard? Shall I go ahead? And I can simply say yes to this, and that should hopefully go off and it'll create the widget. You'll see that continuing to do that. And then when this creates, let me check the base path. It's just having a slight challenge finding it, but you'll see it works its way through. So if it comes up with any challenges or any problems, it will basically work its way past them. And now you can see the operation overview updated, giving you an example of what this actual chart is going to look like as well on your dashboard. And you can see that's exactly, it says that's now been done. So if I now jump across, you'll now see that we have a new panel on the right hand side here, which says receipts by status, and that's been added on by the AI automatically. You'll see it's broken down, showed it as a pie chart, which is exactly what I asked for, and it's broken that down into statuses, so you can see completed and pending. And we should also be able to filter this by the date as well, so you can see down at the bottom it says expected date of receipt is the date that it's filtering by. If we actually change this and say we're going to have a look at yesterday's data, you'll see that has given me different statuses based upon the expected data receipt based upon yesterday. So all this has been automatically calculated for you. It's driven the data from the right areas. It's also linked that in with the filters at the top. And there's even more filters as well automatically available. So you'll be able to click the filters button and say, well, actually I want to see this for warehouse 1 or warehouse 2, for instance, and you see the data again changes based upon that. And all that is just working out of the box from that very first prompt that you typed in. You can also make some amendments from this as well. So if you're actually wanting to say, that chart, let's do a really simple amendment to it. So the receipts by status. Let's say I want to rename this widget to goods in by status. And we should hopefully start to see that, calculate that. It's quite a simple update. Surely updating the name now, no problem, the widget's been updated. I'll go back here, I'll reload the screen, and we should see goods in by status has been updated at the top in the title. So you can make all the manipulations to that. If you find that you don't want to do a date filter on the expected date of receipt, you'd prefer to do that filtering on creation date of the goods in, for instance, you can make that amendment as well through the AI side. So we've built a really nice simple metric there, gives us a nice overview. So let's add some different examples as well. So I've got these copied and pasted for ease, but we'll go with, can you add a new metric of the count of the total of the outbound orders? So our sales orders that were completed on the date specified. This time we're not using a bar chart, we're going to use a count, so it should give us a different metric, different tool on our dashboard. Now, hopefully this time we don't need to specify the dashboard because it already knows what dashboard we were on previously, and it should have a good idea of how to create these dashboard widgets because it's already created its first one. So to work through, it'll work out what the right query is for that dashboard again, and then it will test that out and build that in a widget. And it already knows that the widgets are already there, and you can start to put them in different positions as well. So it will pick an automatic place for them. It will pick a size for that widget and try and place that on your dashboard in a logical position. So it's checking to see how we can filter make some based upon completed update filter. And you can see, good, there's no completed update filter approach. Oh, it's moved on, it's working out. There's a different way of filtering this. And it's trying to create the widget now. It's used a code for that it's been rejected by the system, saying it's too long, so it's given a shorter one. So as you can see, it's not always a first time scenario, but it works its way through building out the report, finding the data that you want. And then we say the operation overview now has 3 widgets. It's added a widget on. So let's have a look at how this widget now looks on the dashboard. We'll go back here, we'll refresh, and there we go. We've got our metric for the completed outbound, and we've got the number there too. And again, this should be filterable. So if we look at this for today or tomorrow, based on what we've got, you can see 1 for today, And we can also span this over ranges as well. It's also then worth noting everything here in your dashboard can then be manipulated on the dashboard itself as well as through the AI. So I can press edit in here and I can look at this widget and say I can't quite see the title. It says completed outbound, so we'll make that a little bit bigger so we can see that metric and drag that into a different position. And we can also make that taller or shorter as well as we go. So you can start to see that, and you can also drag positions around as well, put that into different places on the dashboard. But it's very easy to build the data points that you want out without having that expertise. So let's run some other examples here. We'll add a new metric that shows pick tasks completed per warehouse user, ideally showing this as a bar chart with the most active picker in descending order. This is quite a popular kind of dashboard request to try and see who of your operation in your warehouse is operating at speed, who is known as your best executor of the picks. This gives you a nice overview of that quite easily. So again, it's going to work this out, how to group by the users, how to filter by the pick tasks, how to sort that in the right way. This would be something you would normally have to do manually. It could be quite painful and challenging to do, but here it's going to work that out for you and then ultimately produce you the dashboard widget and place it in position. Everything looks good. Now I'll create the report query bar widget in one go and then place everything on the dashboard. The report query is created. It's now creating that bar widget. There you go. Got that in. I've placed all 4 widgets on the dashboard. All done. Again, this one, it's going to give you a preview of how that looks like, so you can start to see whether that works for you. It'll tell you exactly how it's filtered. And if I have a look at the preview, that's what it looks like in the screen. Hopefully, is what it looks like when we refresh over the dashboard. Yep, it's dropped it down at the bottom based upon the size. And I can see this data here. I've got Joshua Swift. What I'm going to actually do is I will manipulate the size of this. So we'll make that a little bit smaller so that we can put that into a nice position inside the chart that we've currently got. And a little bit less tall. It's fantastic. And then what I'll also show you here is we'll have a look at this data set over a different period of time. So we're looking at and I can see, let's look at a range between and something like the 7th to the 14th. Press OK on that, and you'll nicely see that we've updated that data. You can see exactly who your pickers are, what the data sets you have within there. And you can then obviously, and I can see, and you can rename that, or you can make amendments to this. And this is a nice example of how we can do different bar charts. We've got a bar chart here, we've got pie charts, and then we've got the horizontal bar chart as well as the single numbers. I'll build probably one last example where we'll just build a line chart to give you an idea of how we can do things a little bit differently. So again, I'm going to revert back to the AI. I'm going to line chart the goods in received per day over the date period. This is going to be a standard, just a number of the amount of goods in received, but it'll allow us to put this over a period of time so we can start to say how much over the last week and see how the influx of goods in and received over that period. And it's going to give you a different viewpoint of the widgets that are available on the dashboard, and it will work again with the date filters at the top and the warehouse filters as well as the account filters as well. In this scenario, it's working through and it's working out that we can't group by the created date on certain requests. So again, this is something that you might be challenged with if you were trying to work this out yourself. It wouldn't ultimately be as logical for you to try and understand how to group that data correctly, but the AI is doing the work for you. It's working out how to query the data, how to get the data out in the format that you want, and then it will try to hit our API with different requests. If first it doesn't succeed, it will make amendments to that and effectively correct that until it gets the right result and adds that to your dashboard. Transactions, it's found as a day of creation on that, so you can potentially use the transactions day of creation perfect for the line chart. So again, it's going to work at that. I want to see whether it can create the chart based upon this. To work out that the receive is the goods in received category, and it says great. It says the query works fantastically. I'll now create that report query, creates the report query to retrieve the data, and then creates the widget, place that as the 5th widget on the dashboard, and it should be a preview of how this displays. And again, what I'll do is while that's loading, I'll jump across, press reload on our dashboard, and down at the bottom down here, we will now see our line chart, and you can see a different interpretation of the data again, created by the range. It's using the range at the top, so I can see between the 13th and the 14th. I can see that I've received goods in 13 on the 13th and 4 on the 14th. So again, different representation of our data. So yeah, this is all about streamlining the scenario with AI. You can build as many dashboard widgets as you want. You can build multiple dashboards up here as well for operations overview, different members of your team, and it really streamlines how to create data you want to see without having to work that out manually, just using the UI. This is about giving you the answer the moment you need it, straight from the grids you already use, no digging through reports required. Not everything needs a full demo. Some of the best work simply makes the system more flexible and secure day to day. Here are a few more updates that are live right now. Mixed configuration picking. We've rolled this out to give your teams more flexibility and fewer roadblocks directly on the warehouse floor. Multi-factor authentication. We've introduced MFA. Security isn't optional, and this quiet update keeps your platform and data locked down. Recurring automations for picks. You can now automate process picks, have them processed the second they're created, or set them to run on a daily schedule, based on how close you are to dispatch. Custom tax rates. You now have the ability to configure custom tax rates directly at both the subdomain and account levels for tighter commercial control. That's what we've built. Smoother billing, smarter replenishment, sharper visibility. Now I want to tell you what's next, over the coming months. Not as promises, but clear direction. We had a strong first half of the year, but peak season is coming, and that changes our priorities. We're not chasing a long list of half-built features. We're putting our engineering effort where it counts: stability, speed, and reliability, so the platform holds up when your volume is at its highest. Here's what that looks like. Peak season performance hardening. We're locking down the core system pathways so uptime and speed hold firm when you need them the most. Step pricing gives you commercial flexibility with tiered billing built right in. Dual cycling cuts the dead travel time out on the warehouse floor. Camera scanning paired with a cleaner, standard, handheld experience to speed up the floor even more. Self-service sandbox environments. Administrators get to spin up their own isolated testing environment instantly for safe internal testing and training. Returns portal. A full module dedicated to handling your returns. Document uploads, built straight into receipts and orders. Work order enhancements. 6 unified upgrades all landing together to streamline your most complex processing. That's the direction. Less manual work, clearer workflows, a system built to grow with you without getting in your way. Thanks for tuning in.